it's me again. This is going to be my second video for the stock market playlist. In this episode, we're going to talk about what are stocks and what they're used for and how to read them. So, stocks are basically indicators of how a company or how a general sector being. Quick side note: a sector is like part of the economy. This is basically like when someone says let's just say, for example, utility sector. That means all the companies that involves with utilities are in that general category. Versus the hospitality sector. That means places like restaurants, I'm guessing hotels too would be generally in that area, and other things like that too. So basically that's what a sector is. So let me go back to what I was saying before. What do we call it? Basically, a stock is a good idea of how. It's basically a good idea to show how the economy is doing for a specific country. So, if the country is doing really well, you would see a lot of job growth, a lot of people coming into the country and trying to make it out, become successful, and so on and so forth. Which is kind of being what's happening as of late after the whole Great Recession, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So that's what's going to be going. If the economy is going really badly, like what happened starting around 2008, that's what I was referring to as the Great Recession. That's what a lot of people are referring to. That general starting point of 2008 to, I'll say, 2010-ish, I think that's 2 years. But it's basically the recession that never became a depression. It's been so basically during that Great Recession, there was a lot of job loss. People were losing a lot of money. The unemployment rate was going up when it should not be. Basically, things went from really bad to really, really, really bad in a matter of very few months, basically a very short time. And so basically, that's what stocks are for. Stocks are just a good way to invest, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is part of the Department of Labor for the U.S. If you were to do the stock market or invest money on the stock market for, I'll say 24/7, 365, you should have an average salary of $90K. And yes, I said average salary. It's not guaranteed. In the stock market, you will lose money and you will gain money. I can't tell you how much or how little of each you'll do. I can't tell you what stocks to invest in or anything, mainly because if I do and you guys lose all your money in that stock, you guys can sue me, and I don't want to get sued. And so basically that's what's going on. But I'm gonna create a video, maybe I haven't decided this yet, on what stocks I like and I've invested in. So you guys can kind of do the same if you want to. I'm not going to say, oh, you have to invest in this company or you have to invest in that company. I'm not going to say that. It's totally up to you as the viewer. But that's basically what stocks are. Stocks are basically a good indicator if a sector or a company is doing really well, at least for that time period. And you might be thinking, like, what do you mean by time period? So let's use the Great Recession for an example. The Great Recession was basically when all the banks started to crap out and people lost money. Basically, the banks bit off more than they can chew, and thus the government needed to bail them out. My opinion, they shouldn't have done that. They should have done something else. I don't think that would work. But that's just my opinion, and you can say, oh, I disagree with you, but that's totally up to you what you want to do. So basically, the stock market was going down, losing a lot of money. People were losing a lot of money on the stock markets, like I said. But so that's what I mean by time period. Time period is basically like, oh, it only happened for 2 years, or it only was there for a very little amount of time. For example, in what was it? I think it was last summer, 2015 summer. I could be wrong about the time, but Buffalo Wild Wings was doing like $20 a stock or something like that last summer, 2 summers ago, or something like that. And it was making a lot of money, mainly because if you think about it, I think it was a World Cup last year, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, it was crazy. It was no one. I didn't know. I don't want to say no one knew, but I didn't know what was causing that increase. So, yeah. And then was it earlier this year? Looks like I think like a couple of weeks ago, it was Dollar General and Dollar Tree were making like $15 a stock, and I invested. And he was like, "Sure, $15 a stock. Might as well." So that's basically what I mean by time period. Time period could be like 5-ish weeks, 6 weeks, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, or it could be like 2 or 3 days. So that's what I mean by time period. And then, so let me tell you about how to read stocks. Reading stocks is very easy. Excuse me. It's easier than what you might think. If a stock goes up, it's green. If it goes down, it's red. That's it. If you lose money, the stock's red. If if the company makes money on their stocks, it's green. That's it. Not that hard. So basically, for some reason, a lot of people may think it's hard or whatever. Sorry for the shaking. I'm trying to adjust the camera here. So, anyways, it's really cool. I recommend at least like looking at it, try to understand it if you're interested in getting into it. I don't suggest doing it right now, but if you want to, go ahead. Up to you. It's your money. But I suggest actually just watching the rest of this series so you can actually understand, okay, these are stocks, these are CDs, which I'll talk later on in another episode. These are mutual funds. Again, I'll talk about it in another episode. These are options, which I'll probably talk next week about it. But that's basically how you read stocks. So basically, if a stock like Apple, look, let me give you a better example of how to read stocks. Apple, I think it's about $100 right now, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's just say it's $100 for right now, so we don't have to worry about it, and it's easier for everybody. $100. So, and Apple creates the iPhone 7, whatever the heck they call the next product, and their stock goes from 100 to, let's just say, $110. You make $10 per stock. So if you have, let's just say let's say 5 stocks where you spend $500 to buy the stock, you made $50 total from all those stocks. But if you had one, which you bought for $100, and that stock went from 100 to 110, you made $10. So basically, if you want a mathematical formula for it, it's the number of stocks you have times the difference, meaning how much you put in initially minus how much you got out. Or, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. So it's the number of stocks you have times how much the new value. So if it's it went up from $100 to $110, it would be $110 minus the original amount of money you bought the stock at. So if you bought a stock at $100 and it went up to $110, it would be number of stocks times 110 minus 100. That's it. For you people who don't like math or may not be good at it, it's basically the same thing. If you put in so many dollars and the new value is higher, let's just say, you take away the old value and form the new value and multiply it by the number of stocks you purchased. It's not that hard. Same thing if you go down. So if, let's just say Apple goes down to $90, let's just say, and you bought it at $100. So that means you would lose $10 times however many stocks you bought. So if you bought, let's just say you bought 2 stocks from Apple and went from $100 to $90, you would go from, it would basically be 90 minus 100, which is negative 10, times 2 stocks, or however many stocks you buy, and you would lose $20 total. So basically you'll be, it's like that. That's basically it. So if you have any other questions, comments, leave it in the description box below. Tell me where I can improve. Like and subscribe. Woo! But it's, so I want to leave it off with this comment. Sorry, stock market is not that hard to understand and grasp. If you're interested, I suggest starting off small. I would say, like, I don't like this company mainly because it's not. I haven't heard about it until recently. It's called Robinhood, I think, where you can invest like small amount of money and invest it. I don't like it mainly because I haven't heard about it until somewhat recently, and I can't tell you if it's good or not. And this is just me. I prefer companies like Charles Schwab or Scottrade or TD Ameritrade or E-Trade, where companies are generally more reputable. Nothing against Robinhood, but it's just my opinion that I'd rather go for a company that is well known than a company that may not be as well known. That's just me. But so like, subscribe, comment, questions down below. Please tell me how I can improve, all that stuff. Have a good one.